Okay, now we're going to go through the operations, setup and operations of the scrubber. When you park this stuff at your job site, the hoses will be all be on the hose rack, on the hose ring. The scrubber will basically look like this. First thing we need to do is we install this loop, which installs right in here. We can tighten these down. Be sure to tighten the bottom one first, and then lock the cam lock. Now, if you notice in the operator's manual, everything is either numbered, color coded, or both. This is a check valve. This goes on to the discharge. It's a check valve. I should say it's the intake. Here is the discharge connection. It's yellow to yellow. Now, if you don't know what color a hose look for, you just kind of look around to find a hose. This happens to be a blue end on it. This is a short jumper hose that goes between the outlet of the scrubber over to the green end, which is the inlet onto the hose, onto the booster pump. Intake pump is connected to its hose. It's on a 30-foot hose. It's dropped over into the source of water, whether it is the lake, the river, whatever, it's a source of water. That provides, then plug it in to the intake outlet on the control panel here. Okay, it's a 30-foot length of hose, so it reaches pretty good length to the source. Connect the yellow on it, which is also on that check valve that we just stowed prior to. Okay, now you take the hose. This would be the diver's end. It goes down to the diver because we're going to be flushing, getting the system ready to go for the diver. Okay, intake pump's in position. It's plugged in. Main pump is plugged in. Now we want to make sure that the booster pump is plugged in. Depending on how deep, depending on where you're at, you might not need a booster pump, but as you want it plugged in case you do. Okay, we're all hooked up, ready to go. One last thing you want to do, open up your bleed valve. Open up your bleed valves. We're ready to start up and bleed the system. Start up the intake pump first. Now, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, there's a sufficient flow from the inlet pump to charge the system. But occasionally, there's enough back pressure and friction in the hoses that it does not have enough lift to get through all that, and if that happens, you'll notice the flow here on the flow meter should be up around 9 gallons, 8 to 9 gallons. It'll drop off and quit. So we simply start up the main pump. Start cranking down the main valve until we get our flow. So we've got flow going through here. We got this section bled out. This is bled out. This is bled out. That's bled out already. Okay, we are flowing. There's our 12 gallons a minute we're flowing through the system. We're going to bring that up to about 15, or I guess it is right now, matter of fact. Run this a short period of time. Don't have to run too long. All we're doing now is we're getting water into the system, getting some of the air out. Okay. Now we're going to shut off the main pump and the intake pump. Okay, now that we got the system shut down, we're going to add DE. We're going to charge the DE filter with DE. First you want to do is make sure this bleed valve is open. Open up this lid on the top of the 5 micron filter. As you can see from the directions, the 5 micron filter is missing. Now, if the water level is too high here, you simply open up this valve, let some water drum out. This will lower this down. We need about 6 to 8 inches to add DE. On an original new startup, you add 7 pounds. Now, once the 7 pounds is added, sometimes you look down in there, it might be floating on top of the water. You want to reach down in there and stir it around so it'll kind of settle. Reinstall the pressure, reinstall the lid, making sure the pressure gauge is facing the operator. Screw down the lid. Now, we're going to start the system up, running both pumps. That will move the DE through the system, charge the filter. Booster pump on first, main pump on second. Let it run for a few minutes, a few seconds. Now, we're going to bring it up to about 20 gallons. What we're doing here is this water recirculates here, and as you close down this main valve, you cut down the amount of water that recirculates back through the pump and the separator and force more water into the system and out. Okay, there we are, we're at about 22, 20, okay, there we are at 20. Now, what we're doing right now is two things. Basically, what we're doing is just charging this filter, charging the DE. Make sure that it's bled. Now, we'll let this run here for maybe a minute. That'll make sure all that DE is stirred up off the bottom, up in the filter, stuck on the filters. Okay, now that we've been running for about 2 minutes, we're going to shut down. We're going to shut down both pumps again. Come back around here. Make sure that valve, that bleed valve's open. Pop this lid off. Pull the lid off. Now that we got this lid off, we take the 5 micron filter and insert it into this canister, in this housing. Reinstall the lid. Reinstall the lock ring. Okay, open up the bleed valve. Okay, start up the inlet pump. Start up the main pump. Okay, now we bleed the system. Start out by bleeding these. As you can see, everything's pretty well full. We're flowing about 15 gallons here. It'll pick up. Okay. Okay. Now, once the system is bled out, we're ready for the diver, because we already got the DE filter charged from before. We've got the air bled out of the system. Now we're ready for the diver. So what we do in that situation, we simply shut off the main pump. Allow the intake pump to continue to run. That keeps a constant flow, although it's small, at about 9 gallons going through it. It keeps air out of the system. It keeps the DE attached to the filter. There's a small trickle of water going down to the diver. It's not enough to interfere when he hooks on the mud chaser. So now, we're ready for the diver. When he starts his descent, turn the main pump back on. That allows plenty of time for the system again to come up to pressure, get all the air blowing out of the hose and stuff. We're in operating mode. The driver is in the water. The operator here, all he has to do is, by using this valve, the control valve, is maintain 20 gallons a minute down to the diver.